Malaysia, Vietnam, Indonesia, Thailand, Cambodia, everybody in Southeast Asia for sure, we're going to have to follow the US rules when it came to China. They're going to have to follow the US rules on export controls. They were going to have to potentially redefine trade and broaden out the definition of what is an improper transshipment. How do you see the reaction to what the Trump administration is doing, not just bilaterally, US Malaysia, US Indonesia, US Vietnam, but in terms of demanding the demands they're putting on their trading partners vis-a-vis China?
Well, let me before I hit the China part, let me just talk about the demands on U.S. trading partners. I think trading partners were caught off guard, many of them, by the extent of the demands. So it's not just do this in exchange for lower tariffs, but do a very long list of things that we would like you to do, including everything we may have complained about from the United States perspective for 50 years. Do it all and do it all immediately. I think trading partners were caught out by that, and they were also taken aback by the sweeping nature of some of the demands, not just vis-a-vis China, but in general. And I think what you've seen from trading partners, again, I use partners sort of in quotes because I'm not convinced this is how one would actually treat a partner, but across the board, our trading partners for the United States have been cautious. I would describe them as cautious. So they have been trying to find flexibility wherever they can. They have been trying to extend the discussions so that perhaps there's more clarity by the time we actually get to where we need to go. Part of that is on their end. They want that sort of longer time frame to see how the guardrails might kick in the US, for example. But part of it is also the Trump administration's inability to be clear about what they want from whom and when, because they're trying to handle so many bilateral conversations at once. They've done a really poor job of dealing with any specific trading partner just because of, again, limited resources and bandwidth. So I think we've had this sort of mixed reaction by the partners across this time frame because the US demands have been quite maximal, because they've been a bit unclear, right? So what exactly do you want me to do? What do you want me to do beyond just a tariff discussion and investments? What kind of investments, when, how, et cetera? And then, as you just pointed out, the sort of large challenge, especially for Asian trade partners, is what do you want us to do vis-a-vis China? Now, that is a particular problem for most of Asia because actually their largest trading partner is China, particularly for trade in goods. And so you're asking trading partners of the US to take decisions that ultimately create problems with their largest trading partner in order to deal with their second largest trading partner. And that complication has been extremely fraught in each of the negotiating partner domestic universe. And it's been very hard across one another. As more of these sort of deals get signed, the policy space or the room for maneuver for the next up trading partner of the United States sort of shrinks. And so I think it has been challenging for trade partners to keep as much policy space as possible while still appeasing the Trump administration and trying to avoid things getting worse. That tightrope act has been tough. And it was done for most of 2025 in the absence of clear guidance out of China, like how is it we want you to behave, until really the very end of the year is the first time that the Chinese were quite clear. We are not happy with some of the decisions that you've been taking, particularly Malaysia and Cambodia, who have the most extensive trade deals. We, China, think that there are at least some questions that need to be answered. You don't actually have the answers in some cases that we're looking for because it's still unclear to you what the United States wants you to do. So we have sort of, multiple parties involved in this and uncertainty as we end 2025.